evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Speedcars Down Under. Tonight, once again on the panel, and one of our great foreign, what can we say, Paul? Foreign Northern Terrier. That's about the best way of putting it, isn't it? Paul Charlesworth, welcome, Paul. How are you, mate?
Yeah, no, I'm really good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Kicking along. Anyway, can't wait for the Speedway season to start. It's been too much of a long off-season. It's doing me head in. And also tonight joining us is our special guest, a real gentleman of the speed car world and a great young fella to talk to is Beau Doyle from WA. Welcome, Beau.
Thanks for having me, boys. How are we?
Yeah, not too
good,
bad,
mate. Good,
yeah,
thanks for coming on the show, mate.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
We've been wanting to get you on for a fair while now, and because you've been away, it's been a bit hard. But yeah, as soon as you got back, we were straight on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we might as well start right at that point. Like we said, you've been away over in the US of A, Beau. What was the trip all about, and what did we do, and yeah, what's the future hold over there?
So the whole trip came about very quickly, to be honest. I was talking to a friend of mine, Travis White, here in Perth, and I said to him, look, like, the dream is to go to America and learn. And I built my own car last season, and I'm building it currently this season, but I had to build it to learn, basically, because I was just what Dad likes to call a Hollywood racer, and I just got in and drove. And I didn't know much about the car, and last season building it myself, I got to learn a lot about it and learn the fundamentals, and we got to a point where I could actually start to set the car up myself, but it was lacking the knowledge. So I thought, what's the best way to learn and best way to get the knowledge is to learn from the best there is, and that's to head to America. So I spoke to Travis about it. He messaged some of his friends over there, and I think it was within, I reckon, 2 weeks, I got a phone call from Andy Reinbold from AME Electrical and Reinbold with Motorsport. And we spoke on the phone, and I think it was not even an hour after that, I had my flights booked, and I was flying out, I think, 2 weeks after that. So it was very, very quick. So,
awesome.
And what did we
do? Jane.
What did we do over there, Beau? I think, what did we do? 21 tracks in 30 nights?
Yeah, it's something crazy like that. I know I did nearly my whole WA season in a week over there. It was pretty hectic. I flew in on the 1st of July, and I think we raced midget week on like the next day or something crazy like that, or like 2 days later. So yeah, I did a lot of different tracks, and it was between obviously the midget and the sprint car with Hayden Reinbold and Mitchell Moles, and got to go to a lot of different tracks. Got to go to Eldora one night and watch the King's Royal. That was really cool. That was a bucket list moment. I got to go to Pennsylvania, Ohio, and obviously throughout Indianapolis, going to nearly every single track in Indy. And yeah, midget week, sprint week, I think we had I think it was 8 nights of racing in 1 week at one point. So that was pretty hectic, but yeah, it was something that I'm definitely going to remember for a long time, and I'm very, very grateful for.
Yeah. So what's the actual, like, obviously going to America, I mean, those guys, they just run such a full-on program, do they?
It's so hectic, but so professional over there. So
yeah,
obviously with the USAC program, like their schedule, it's kind of the same between midget and sprint car. It's the same fundamentals. So you go out for basically your hot laps, which is your practice, and then you have qualifying, which it's either single car or 2-car qualifying. Then you get your heat race, and then it's straight into basically the A main or the B main if you're in the B main. So it is very hectic, and it's very much of basically car comes in, fuel, tires, quick check, basically rush as fast as you can, because if you're in the last heat and then you don't make the transfer because they only take top 4, you're into the B main, or even worse, the C main. So you got to come in, basically dump a couple drums of fuel in it, and basically you're pushing back out ready for the C main. Yeah, it's very hectic. Once we get to the track, like with Andy does not like getting to the track early, and that was difficult for me. Me as a driver back here at home, I'm at the track when the gates are basically opening up, and let's get myself set up. No, not with Andy. We're the last car rolling into the pits, and you can make sure that we're the first car leaving when we leave. So it's basically last car in, and the boys are jumping out of the car to go driver's meeting. We're rolling the car out, get the engine heater straight on. Then obviously we have our quick format, hopefully straight into the A. And as soon as the A main's over, car's in. And if we don't make the podium, if we make the podium, obviously the cars go to tech, so they take top 3 cars to the USAC truck. They go through tech, so they do like tyre testing, mag block testing for traction control. They do a lot over there. Like, it's something different every meeting. So that's what they do with the top 3. But if we don't make the podium and the car comes back to the trailer, it's basically panels off, all the airbox and stacks off, and then basically load the car up. And if we're on the road, it's to the car wash, or if we're in Indy, it's back to the workshop and roll the car out. And we're washing the car at, I reckon, 12 o'clock in the morning.
And for people at home that say, oh, it's to the car wash, it's not just a car wash sometimes, is it? It's a full, like, stripped down workshop, some of these car washes in America, don't they? They don't just go there to wash their cars. They do mechanical work. They do everything, don't they?
Yeah, 100%. Like, when we were on the road in Pennsylvania, I think we raced, I think it was like 6 nights or 7 nights in a row. And, like, we go to the track, obviously do our strip after the race meeting, straight to the car wash, and basically we got to wash the race car, the mule. They don't push the cars out with the mule. They got a quad bike as well, so you got the mule and the quad bike to wash. Obviously all the panels, and you got all your spare tires, and you got to clean the trailer out while you're at the car wash because you don't want to put the car back in clean with all the dirt in there. So you have to clean all that out. So we got it that down pat that we basically had the car like in the trailer, and you're washing it, and the engine's still hot. Like, that was like when you know you're doing it good. And so we wash it, and then obviously we do a little bit of engine maintenance at the car wash. Like, we get all the water, and I think we CRC the bores and all that kind of stuff. But then it's straight back in the trailer, and then if we're on the road, we go back to the hotel. And me personally, I'm like, the boys are sleeping into probably 7, maybe 8. I'm up at 6, straight out the trailer and rolling the car out by myself. And all right, let's get stuck into the maintenance. And then we're doing the maintenance from anywhere from, well, basically me from 6 o'clock to maybe lunchtime, get the car maintenance done and load it back up, and then head off to the next track. So it was pretty hectic. It was full on.
Yeah, cool. No, well, once again, it'd be a once in a lifetime sort of opportunity, you know. And I know young Brody Barclay from Nick Parker's team, he had a ball when he went over there too. So do you think you've learnt, or do you think you've gained stuff from over there that you can bring back to run with your package this year?
1,000%. 1,000%. Just going over there and watching and listening to not even the crew, but also the drivers, the way that Hayden and Mitchell talk, and the feedback that they give back to Andy and to their crew chiefs as well. Because obviously Andy's the car owner and the team owner and all that. And then you got Dylan and Jacob. They're the crew chiefs of the sprint cars. Jacob's Hayden's crew chief, and then Dylan's Mitchell's crew chief of the sprint car. And Jacob's also the midget crew chief. So I tried to get a little bit close with him and learn as much as I could off him. But yeah, I learned so much over there. I had my little notebook in my hands at all times, writing little notes in there. And a lot of it was stuff that I thought, once I got told, was so simple. Like, I have a tendency to overthink a lot, and sometimes when it's the obvious answer, I'm like, no, that's too obvious. It's got to be something more in depth than that. And 9 times out of 10, it's the obvious answer. So a lot of it, I was like, Jesus Christ, why am I not doing that? Like, that is so, like, I'm a moron, basically, because it was like, why not do that? But a couple of tricks I learned from them. Obviously, they didn't teach me all their tricks, but I definitely learned a lot, and not only for setup wise, but also their maintenance and how they build a car and all that kind of stuff. Like being able to build a car with them, and not just the midget, but also the sprint car. Like, we had one night in sprint week, we went to Lawrenceburg, and Mitchell had a very, very nasty crash, and basically had massive chassis damage to the back of the car. And we got the spare car down the next day out of the trailer, and I think it was like 3 o'clock that morning after Lawrenceburg. I was dropping the chassis off to Spike in Indiana, and we got the chassis back from Spike at 12:30, and we had the car fully rebuilt as a spare car, engine and everything, at 3 o'clock, ready to go to the track that night.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was hectic.
No mucking around over there. That's for sure. So you also went over to the BC39, Beau?
Yeah, that was that was like a bucket list moment. That was like Chili Bowl. So I obviously we had 3 midgets. We had Hayden, Mitchell, and Ricky Thornton Jr.
Yeah.
Racing the midgets, and that was pretty cool. I got that was in July, and obviously we had a little bit of a relationship by then. And Jacob learnt that I kind of knew when it came to maintenance and basic setup. I knew what I was doing, and it was just I was lacking in the changes throughout the night. That's where I didn't really know what to do with the car. Like I can set them up from the start of the night. I can do maintenance on them. I can build them. That's fine. It was the changes throughout the night where I was lacking, because mainly I'm driving the car, so I don't really want to know about it or worry about it. But yeah, we got that relationship formed, and when it came to the BC39, Jacob was basically like, look, these cars need this, get it done. And it was hectic working on 3 cars. Like we had the first night, I think Mitchell rolled over on the first night, so that was pretty hectic. And then the second night, we had some stuff we found in maintenance. When we were doing the maintenance next morning, we found some stuff wrong, so it was like, oh my God, we're going to get this sorted. Like we only have got like 2 hours to go racing. So that was pretty hectic, but it was definitely a bucket list moment being there, and got to sit up on top of the trailer. And like the way that they do it over there is just, you can't even put into words how they do it. It's just something that you never get to, until you see it in person. Like you can watch it on TV all you want, and you can think it's cool, but when you're there and like they have the lights flashing green for Brian, and they're doing even the 4 wide that they do over there, the guys are so professional when they do it. Like there's not, like every car's a millimeter from each other, and they're just nice and perfect 4 wide. And yeah, watching it, you're like, wow, like this is just next level.
But it was an amazing race too. I mean, everyone was running hard. Like, I mean, obviously, like you just said, watching on telly was great, you know, but I mean, being there in real life would be just awesome.
Yeah, I watched Hayden mainly because I was on his car the entire time I was over there. So Hayden was my main car I was watching. I was trying to watch Mitchell and Ricky at the same time, and watching those 3 while I'm trying to also watch Logan and Justin up the front, because obviously I'm close with Logan as well, so I'm trying to watch him at the front. I'm watching Hayden mid-pack. I'm watching Mitchell, and I'm like, oh my God! Like, and when they got close to each other, I was like, please, just be clean, just be sensible. I do not want to rebuild a car tonight. Like, it was hectic. I'm like, Jesus, this must be how my mum feels like watching me. Like, this is crazy. So, but watching it in person, like, and just watching how they drive, like, because I'm a very calculated driver. Like, I watch people's driving and I study how people drive, and that's how I get better. And being able to go over there and watch how they drive in person and seeing how they handle the car, and mainly with the open cockpits over there, like you can see how they're wheeling the car and just the way they turn in. And I was lucky enough to put my GoPro on Hayden's car. A lot of meetings were over there, so I got the opportunity to basically sit down and edit all my footage and watch that back. And like just watching how Hayden operates in that car, I was like, wow, like this is just next level compared to how I'm in the cockpit. But it definitely showed me, okay, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. So yeah, it was definitely something to open my eyes.
So one of the things that sort of, you know, getting to know you, and, you know, I first started looking at your YouTube page, and like you're probably one of the only Australian, you know, guys that actually has a page and, you know, puts a lot of footage of the driving. You know, you talk a bit, you know, something that Team Ez does, which I think, you know, like I think it's an awesome thing, and you know, I think a lot more people should get into it if they're trying to promote, you know, the class. And I'm sure too, like you must obviously with your footage, you watch it back, you obviously learn a lot. I mean, back in my day, like we never had GoPros, you know, so. But, you know, when I sort of started coming out, you know, a few years ago, like just seeing some video footage of myself racing, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I remember that little slip up, and I remember that, and I remember, oh, yeah, I can remember talking to myself in the car, and it made, if I had, you know, more opportunity to sort of race, you know, a few more years after it, I'm sure that would have been, you know, something that was beneficial.
Absolutely. And like the GoPros, my crew was very much against it at first.
Oh,
massively. They thought it was a massive distraction.
I've heard that from so many drivers over the years. There's so many drivers that are out there are superstitious that reckon GoPros are bad luck, and
I don't think they're bad luck. Like I'm superstitious. Don't get me wrong. I got my superstitions, which we can get into. But my dad was very much like, "No, you don't need them on. They're a distraction. You're too worried about them." And then it wasn't until like I actually put them on, and then he watched it, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I actually like this." Like, oh, well. And then he just started picking up driving, and I'm like, "Dude, just go away. Like, don't worry about what I'm doing." So, but they do have their advantages. Like I do my YouTube and. When I went over to Chili Bowl for the first time, I actually got to meet Thomas and got to know him, and we ended up getting really close. And he's actually the reason I started doing YouTube, because I was inspired by what he does and the exposure he gets. And I thought, like, no one's doing that a lot back home, and if I can do that for midgets back home, hopefully I can get exposure how he does over there. And yes, they race a lot more than what I do, but what I do race, I can put out as much as I can. And when I finally got into it and started getting the GoPros on, I think I was actually sitting down with Logan Seavey one afternoon while he was here in Australia, and we're watching my GoPro footage together. And I think it was the John Day, and he said to me at one point, he goes, "Why are you backing off halfway through the corner?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I'm not backing off halfway through the corner. What are you talking about?" He goes, "Listen," and like we sat down together, and he actually went through the footage with me and showed me what I was doing wrong and where I was going wrong. And I was like, wow, like I am backing off. Why am I doing that? Like, I didn't even know. And it wasn't until he pointed it out, and then he was like, okay, like, look, you're turning in here, you should be doing this. And when you do a slide job, you got to do this. And I'm like, oh, okay. And like, just sitting down with him and watching it was like, it just opened my eyes so much. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to start getting into this more. And after every meeting, I download my footage, and I go basically I watch everything, and then I edit all my footage, and then I'll watch it again, and like I watch it for fun, and then I watch it to go, okay, let's study it and let's learn where I went wrong and where I can improve for next meeting, and see where the cars, like my competition, are basically better than me. So like I got my forward facing GoPro and my rear GoPro, and it's like, okay, well, am I better out of the corner or am I better into the corner, and compared to everyone else? And yeah, there's so much factors to having them on the car that can help, and obviously the exposure is a big thing. And ever since I started doing it, it was very questionable at first, but I think now that I've done it for a little bit, everyone's starting to get used to it, and obviously the sponsors love it a lot. So they're definitely
and it is a very big thing for sponsors, and also out there for fans. You know, fans only know the car number and the car colour, where they want to know more about you, the driver, what's involved in your life. What do you do when you're not outside, when you're not in Speedway, you know, like, and like I do most of my GoPros down here, and like I said, like you just said, it's one of the best sources to find out where you're doing things wrong on the track, and that's what a lot of my drivers that take the GoPros on for the night say. They're great just for that sort of thing.
100%. And like even with the fans, like I've had so many people just from last season. Like I started my YouTube channel and running the GoPros on the car, I think halfway through, not last season, the season before. And I just had so many people come down last season and were like, I've watched you on YouTube, I've seen all your videos, I've subscribed, and I'm like, dude, that's so good. And I've had people come up to me and say, like, I didn't know what racing was until I came across your channel, and now I'm here and I'm watching it in person, and like, why haven't I been doing this for years? And it's really cool just to try and get that next level of that another set of eyes from, and that next level of audience that we can reach and get that exposure. Because like a lot of exposure now, like I know that my crew and everyone are very critical about it, but like it's the way of the world now. Everything's technology now. So social media is a big key factor, and if I gotta basically stay up till midnight editing videos to try and get my name and get as much exposure as I can out there, that's what I'm going to be doing. So it's definitely the way of the world now, and I think that everyone's starting to see that. And obviously, like not just my channel, but like obviously you can see Timez, like how much that's basically sent him to the next level, and he went from basically running midgets to sprint cars now. So.
And it's not just Australia and America and New Zealand. I mean, my channel, for instance, I've got views in Russia, Poland, you know, Japan, like Europe. Like, wow, are people in that part of the world even interested in our sport? Oh, that's just so great to see, you know, like it's...
It is incredible, and like having like you can get all your specs from the YouTube app, and it tells you all the countries. Like I got people in Ireland watching, and I'm like,
that's it. Yeah.
and they even got dirt tracks out there. Like, what the hell?
I think they got solos,
just-
haven't they? But that's about it.
Oh, I don't even like know.
I
It's just
don't know
incredible,
either.
and like, and just having like the next like generation. Like, I'm thinking of kids that are like, when I was a kid at the track, like watching my dad race and growing up there, because like being a third generation driver, like I've been at the track my entire life, and watching my dad there and like watching him race, I'm like, I kind of want to basically that next generation like show them like, hey, this is what racing's like. This is what you can be doing one day. If you want to do it, like you can do it. Like you just need to work hard and set your mind to it, basically. And like having my target, like my audience now, are basically either like middle-aged men, or I get so many kids down in the stands, and they're like, "I love your car. It's the coolest looking car." And I'm like, "I know." And then they're like, basically the kids and the teenagers, they're obviously on YouTube and social media so much, and they're like, I've watched all your videos, I've seen you on TikTok and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's definitely cool, like them coming down and being like, I've watched all your stuff. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea what that means to me. It means more than they'll ever know.
Do you have trouble keeping up with all the social media stuff, Beau? Because there's that many formats now, isn't there? You got TikTok, you got YouTube, you got Facebook, you got Instagram. That's just to name a few. Like, have you got channels on all them formats, or you just stick to the odd one?
Basically, Doyle Motorsport is across all social media platforms, and it is pretty hectic, especially when you're working a full-time job. It gets pretty serious. So I got a business app that I can like basically schedule posts to put out on Facebook and Instagram, and then if I put a post out on Facebook, it goes to my Instagram, and if it's a video, it goes to my Instagram and TikTok. So it's basically just copy and paste, and it can get pretty hectic. Obviously, the off season and me being in America, I haven't posted that much, which normally in the off season I'm posting like probably 2 to 3 times a week. I'm flat out and doing rebuild videos and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it took a toll while I was in America. I think I went nearly a month without posting something. And I actually had my granddad ring me. He's like, "Dude, you want to like give an update on social media?" I'm like, "That's okay." Like, people might think I'm dead. Like, I need to get up there. So just put an update out there. But like, that's the thing, is that you can't take a break from it. You need to just keep grinding at it. And like, the thing is, you can't just post one time a week. Like, okay, yes, you can post one time a week, but you might get like 200 views. You need to post like 3-4 times a week, flat out, videos, photos, whatever, and just keep getting it bumped up, because every time someone opens their phone, you want to be the first thing that they see on social media.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, because you know what, I will say this: like your team last year looked just magnificent. And I mean, it was the first time that we got to meet you guys. Your mum and dad, Steve and Christy, absolutely lovely people. I always love having a good banter with your old man. He's such a legend. And Sharpie, he's another one that I don't mind having a bit of banter with. He's another legend too. Yeah, like UWA guys, because they're all cool characters. I really appreciate that. So what are we looking at for this season, mate? Like, have we got another crazy colour scheme, or?
I don't want to release too much about the car yet.
All right, okay.
When it comes to the design, I'm very, very hush hush. My dad likes to let's take a photo and send it to people. I'm like, no, it's not. I do have something in the works. There will be a release video soon, hopefully. But yeah, it's definitely something. Let's just say it's something that is not what people have seen before.
Ooh,
and it's not something that it's something new for me. So it's definitely a change, definitely a big change. But I reckon it's gonna probably blow my other designs out of the water. So it's gonna be interesting for sure.
Well, when I was in the Australian title last year, Beau, I don't know whether you heard the video I did, but I walked around the pits and I actually said that it should have been a best presented team, and your team would have won it hands down. Like, the car was so well presented, the team was so well presented, the team was so friendly. They'd answer any questions, talk to anyone, and honestly, mate, that is a credit to you, your team, your family. Like, hats off to you. There should be more teams around like you blokes, because you do such a great job.
And that means a lot. Like, don't get me wrong, like we do have nice gear. Obviously with my team, we're a family budget team. So mum and dad are basically the owners, and basically we do everything ourselves. So like, yes, we have nice looking stuff, but a lot of our stuff I've had in the car since I was 16 and I'm 22 now. So a lot of my stuff is basically after the season, you take it apart and you rebuild it, and hopefully, okay, maybe that can be used for the car next year. And it's not like the big budget teams where it's just like, just buy brand new, just buy brand new. And like, we've had to work our asses off for what we've got. Like, yes, I've got good gear, that's for sure. There's no ifs or buts about that, but we've worked our asses off for that. And finally being able to, like, over the years, I've had to start off at basically like a starting point, and then over the years just upgrade little bits by bits to get to where I am for this year. And yeah, it's definitely like, it's definitely hard, but it's also that sense of like not a gratitude and like, look how we can do it on a family budget and be so presentable. And like, when you get people coming up and saying like, this is the best looking car, where it's like they don't know what goes on in the background. Like, I'm in the shed super gluing the stickers back on every night and doing stuff like that. Like, I'm polishing the rims every single meeting, and me and Dad are in there, like our hands are black from polishing everything that's chrome. And then I got my radius rods that are all black, and I'm still painting them throughout the season. I paint my extractors every meeting, and like basically rebuilding the car every show just so people can walk up and go, this thing looks immaculate. Because at the end of the day, like, even with the designs, how they're so bright and vibrant and stand out, it's the whole point of people walking up and going like, look at that thing, and like, wow, like that's what I want people to be like when they go into the pits and there's all the cars there. I want their eyes to be basically drawn to me, and that's why we work so hard for what we've got. And obviously I've got amazing people that back me in sponsorship and family, and yeah, it definitely is a struggle at times, but to be able to put that hard work in and get the results and the feedback that we do is incredible. And like, it's a credit to the team as well. Like, everyone knows that, like, with me, I'm very OCD and I like my stuff a certain way. And my dad's like very, well, we'll just put it together like this. I'm like, no, we've got step-by-step procedure, mate. We have to do it this way. That was a difficult time for him when we were building the car together last year for the first time, and he was like, I don't like working with you. I'm like, well, I don't like working with you.
I can only imagine.
It was hectic. So, but we've learned to start to work together, and he knows what I like. And like, obviously my dad's been there from day one, so he knows what I like and what I don't like. And it was finally time for me to basically stop being a Hollywood racer, as he calls it, and start working on the car. And yeah, now I can finally get my hands dirty. He's like, and like, even like with me, with America, and even before that, like, I was showing him some stuff. He's like, I like how you do that. And I'm like, I like how you do this. So let's learn off each other.
So is that the new nickname, Beau? Hollywood?
I hope not. I really hope not. I think that's in the past. I'm definitely not a Hollywood racer now. I definitely put the work in, that's for sure. And I don't know what the nickname will be. I'm definitely thinking with this new design, there's going to be a few nicknames that are coming out, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. And speaking of which too, Beau, with your cars, you're not the shortest bloke around, are you? How tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
And that's pretty tall for a Speedcar driver, isn't it?
Yeah. Normally when I tell people I drive midgets, they look me up and down and they go, "How do you fit in a midget?"
Yeah.
Like the first time I met Jason McDougall, he was over here in 2019, I think it was, for Travis White. I went to John Day and I walked up, and I'll never forget this. I walked up and he's like, "I'm like, it's a pleasure to meet you," and blah blah. And he goes, "Oh, you looking at racing one day?" I said, "I do race." And he goes, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, what do you race, like late models or sprint cars?" I said, "Midgets." And he goes, looks me up and down, and he goes, "How the hell do you fit in a midget?" And then he goes, "So when are you going to race it?" I said, "I've raced against you tonight." And he goes, "What?" And he goes, "Which one?" I said, "The green one." He walked down, he was like, looked at it, he goes, "I think I couldn't even see over the steering wheel in this thing." So, like, even like over in America, like, you think of Logan Seavey, like, he is a jockey compared to me, and it definitely like sucks in that aspect of it. Like, you got Logan, who's, I think he's like something stupid like 56 kilos, and probably like 4 foot tall, if I could say anything about it. But you got him like that small, and then you got me who's like 6'2" and like basically 95 kilos. And yeah, it's definitely a disadvantage for me in that side aspect, compared to him, like where it's like he's so small and so light that he doesn't have to worry about cutting the car, like cutting the A-frame out, moving it back, and he can just fold his seat in and have spaces that are like 3 inches wide and 4 inches long in the car, and away he goes. And for me, it's like, okay, well, I got to cut the chassis for me to fit, but now I got to, okay, well, can I get the head clearance? Oh, now my legs are cramping up. So like, I know with the car last year when we were building it, I actually had to bend my brake pedal because I couldn't have any spacing underneath my seat because of my head clearance. I had to have the head clearance, so I had to bend my brake pedal away from me because we found that I was riding the brake throughout the race. Yeah. And even with the accelerator pedal, I run my accelerator pedal on an angle just because how tall I am. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but we make it work. And I love it when people go, "Oh, I'm too tall, I can't fit in the midget." And I'm like, dude, if I can fit, anyone can fit. Trust me.
Yeah. Well, the first time I met you at Murray Bridge when we did that interview, I just looked at you and went, "How the hell do you get in that car?" Like, it just amazed me.
Thanks, Doyle, because I've only ever seen your videos, you know, and I can remember sort of coming up and walking down to sort of watch one of the races when you'd sort of just come back in, and I'm sort of looking at you like that, thinking, "Geez, Christ, he's going to be over 6 foot." Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the funny part. Like even like with the weight difference, like I had a incident at work a couple of years ago where I got hurt and was basically on workers' comp for like 6 months and couldn't move or anything. So I was basically putting on a lot of weight, and I got to the point, I think it was the national title last season, because we had 4 months off because I blew a motor early in the season. I think it was like 2 shows in, we blew an engine, had 4 months off, and like obviously I was a little bit depressed about that. And when I got in that stage, I was a little bit of an emotional eater, and put on a little bit of weight, and I came back in the national title. I was like, "Oh shoot, my suit's shrunk in the wash." And Mum's like, "No, mate, your suit didn't shrink. Trust me." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I actually ended up, I think I was about nearly 120 something kilos. I was a big boy, and I got to the point after last season. Mum sits me down. She's like, "Do you want to be a race car driver?" I was like, "Of course I do." And she goes, "Well, the way you are, you're not going to be running up the front if you're weighing this much." I'm like, and gave me basically a big reality check. And I was like, all right. So she put me on a pretty serious diet and got me in the gym. And I ended up losing, I think I'm down to nearly 47 kilos I've lost since April last year. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been something hectic. So I've gone basically from, I went through 3 suits last season. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So, Beau, no, it's all good. We know what it's like, mate, when you've got someone at the door.
Yeah, no, well, I've got some friends staying down here, so I met them at the Chariot. I was staying out with Clive, and I bloody just locked the door, so I didn't realise.
Poor bugger's got locked out. Now, Beau, there's a question I ask all our speed car drivers that come on here. Where did it all begin, mate, and how did you first ever become involved? I know your pop and your dad were motorsport people, but when did you first become involved?
Yeah, obviously my granddad raced and dad, so we have a running joke in the family that I was always going to end up in a speed car no matter what. I think I've got a photo of me I think I was like 2 years old sitting in dad's race car, like couldn't even see over the steering. I think the steering was up here, and always been around it. And when I turned 12, Dad surprised me at Christmas with a junior sedan, and that was probably, I don't think you can top that Christmas present. That's something that's special. And 12 years old, I started racing, and I had my first race meeting at Allenbrook Speedway for the 50th anniversary, and I think it was a 2-day show, and I'll never forget. It was a 2-day show, and I went out the first 2 races and I got lapped, and I came in crying after the second race. I'm bawling my eyes out and crying my eyes out, and Dad's like, "What's the matter?" And I'm like, "I don't want to get lapped." And he's like, "Well, if you don't want to get lapped, put your foot down." And I'm like, "All right, okay." And I went out, and this was like back when I first started racing juniors. Like we had like something like 20 new stars and 30 top. Like it was something ridiculous for a race that like back then. And I think I started like 16th for a heat race. Like there was just that many cars, and came through and ended up getting 4th. And I came in. Dad's like, when I said put your foot down, I didn't expect that. And then the next day, Dad was like asking Chief Stewart, like, can we put him in the field? And the Chief Stewart was like, no, he's still a rookie. He has to start rear field. And ended up starting like back at like last, and I think we got 2nd and 3rd in both our heats the next day. And then we had to start last in the feature race, even though I got those good heat race points, and ended up coming from, I think we started 24th in the A main.
Yep.
And I was in 2nd passing for the lead with only like, I think it was like a handful of laps to go, and was making a pass for the lead, and then had contact made from another car and got sent into the wall, and the engine jumped the tooth, so ended up DNFing. But I was like so close to my first feature race being my first win, so that was like, oh my god, like something, if I could go back in time, that would be something like, I'm like, got to make sure that changes. But yeah, it started there, and then when I turned 15, Dad was like, basically sat me down and was like, look, we've been racing juniors for a while now. I'm going to offer you an opportunity. You can either keep racing junior sedans, or we can sell the junior now and we can build a midget and you can race speed cars next season. And speed cars is what I've been wanting to go in since I was a little kid. And no hesitation, I said speed cars straight away. So sat out a year, and I couldn't race the first meeting of the season because I was still too young. So ended up crewing for Dad for the first meeting, and then when I turned 16, I think it was like 3 days after my 16th birthday, it was my first meeting at Perth Motorplex in the midget. So
yeah, was your dad still racing then too? So did you get to race with your dad?
Yeah, I got to race with my dad. That was cool. My uncle races midgets here too. So my first season, I got to race against both my uncle and my dad.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
Out on the same track, and I think me and Dad did 3 or 4 shows together, and like Dad was trying to like work on his car and my car at the same time. And I think it was, funny enough, it was the John Day Classic. It seems that it's always the big meetings that some action happens with me, and it was the John Day Classic. I came in, and like I like to think I'm a cool driver. I think my crew would disagree with me, but I think I came in, and I think through my whole junior sedan career, I never spun the car out. I never had any instance like that. And I came in after the first heat, and I spun the car out in the first heat, and I came in, and I don't lose my cool, but I think a helmet got thrown after the first heat, and because I kept telling my old man, I'm like, something's not right. My granddad was setting up the car, and Dad was like, I threw my helmet, and Dad was like, oh, okay, this is serious. He goes, what's wrong? I said, I can't drive this car. Like, this car, I cannot drive it. So he ended up sitting out the second heat, and I got to go out there, and I ended up spinning out again. And I was just over it at that point. I'm like, I don't want to race this thing anymore. Like, this is ridiculous. And he ended up setting the car up and took parts off his car for the feature race and put them on mine, and ended up going out the feature race and doing 40 laps and didn't spin out. And I was like, oh, wow, like, that was incredible. And Dad's like, Dad actually ended up blowing a head gasket and was watching from the infield. And he says to this day that watching from the infield, it was at that point there that he was like, I'm retiring. This is it.
Yeah.
He just found it too hard to work on the car, on his car and my car at the same time. And he's like, and he said to me before, he goes, I've had my time in midgets. He goes, I got to race against you. I actually got to beat him in one race, which I'll never let him forget.
Oh,
it was pretty cool. He said that he let me beat him, and I was like, you can tell yourself whatever you want, mate.
and being a third generation, Beau, does that put any more pressure on your shoulders?
I think it does a little bit. Yeah. Like, obviously, I do get referred to my dad a lot. From like a lot of the people who come down, they're like, oh, like I watched your dad race back in the day. And like when I first started racing, I had the opportunity to go 75 because that was my dad's number. But like my dad was actually the one to say, like, look, I don't want you going 75. Yep. You have to go your own number and create your own legacy and be your own person. Don't basically like try and live up to me. And I was against it at first. I'm like, I want to be like like, I want to be known as like your kid and all that kind of stuff. But we ended up going with 51, and it was a little bit of pressure at first, like trying to live up to it. And obviously, the first 2 years, my first 2 years in midgets, I had a difficult kind of start to it, and it was a bit hard. And I was thinking like maybe I'm not cut out for it, but I think it wasn't until our third year when we bought a spike from over east, and like we went from juniors where I was basically winning everything into midgets, and my mentality was I can win in them, I can win in a midget, that's fine. And then I'm getting lapped in a heat race in my first show, and I'm like, wow, this is a massive reality check. And it wasn't until like we got my spike, and funny enough, my first meeting was the state title at Perth Motorplex, because the year before we had a rain out at the state title, and then it was COVID. So they cancelled the rest of the season. So they had 2 state titles in one season at Motorplex. And we went out, and I think my first heat I did pretty average. Wasn't really like, this was in the brand new car, so it wasn't really like better from last season, but wasn't too bad either. So it was like, oh, okay, like that wasn't bad. And then it wasn't until the second heat we started down the back, and I actually ended up coming through and getting third out of, I think it was like 10 cars or something like that. And like we're passing like pretty big names, and like I came in and like I'm bawling my eyes out, like crying like a baby, and Dad's like, what's wrong? I said, oh my God, I passed the car. Like, I couldn't believe it. And he's laughing his ass off. He's like, where did that come from? I'm like, you tell me, mate. I don't even know. And we went out. I think we started 5th in the feature race, and it was 40 laps. And I remember sitting in the chute, and Uncle Phil, my engine builder, he always sits in my left-hand Nerf bar, and I'll never forget, he said to me, he goes, all right, we got to plan, like every race that we do, a feature race, it's always the 40 lapper, take the first 20 laps, take it easy, find your line, find your groove, last 20 laps, go for it. And he's like, just first 20, take your time, take it easy. I'm like, okay. And then I'll never forget, I think it was like, we got the green flag, and by the first corner, I'm into second. And from 5th, and I'll never forget, we ended up having a couple of yellows and red lights, and it was probably the longest race. It was over an hour we were in the car for. And I think I went from second to, we ended up finishing 3rd on the podium by 0.01 of a second.
Oh, geez, that was close. That's close, isn't it?
Yeah, and like I still remember that race lap for lap. Like I remember I was battling it out with Alfie Guadagnino, and I was sitting 3rd, and he got me, I think it was like 2 laps to go, he got me for 3rd, and I was sitting 4th, and I thought to myself, I'm like, I've come all this way, I am not finishing 4th, like there's no way. And I'll never forget, I seen the white flag, and I was coming through 1 and 2, and I went up a little bit higher and got the momentum, and I actually said to myself, I'm like, if you want to get on the podium, you're going to have to hold this thing flat, like there's no ifs or buts. And I went to turn 3, and I had this thing pinned to the floor, and I actually ended up, my foot started lifting off the accelerator, and I actually grabbed my knee with my hand and pushed my leg down in the car. And I said to my parents, I'm like, at one point I had my eyes shut because I was that scared. I was like, oh my God, like I've never held the car flat before at this point. And we came out of turn 4, and like we were side by side, and we crossed the line like side by side, and I was on the outside of him. And it wasn't until the chief steward came over the one way, he's like, called the first 2 cars to the podium, and then he stopped, and it felt, for me, it felt like an eternity before he said it, and he goes, in 51. And as soon as he said my number, like, I'm trying not to get emotional now talking about it, but as soon as he said it, like, just crying in tears, and being out, like, my dad's best podium finish in the state title, I think, was 4th, and I got 3rd, so I was the first Doyle on the podium for a state title, and crying, and, like, having my parents run out to the track, and, like, my dad's crying, my mum's crying, my granddad's there crying, and like it was, and by doing it by 0.01, like I had Elfie pull up on the infield, even though he got 4th, he pulled up, he jumped out of the car and ran up to me, and I'm sitting on top of on the roll cage, I'm crying my eyes out, and he grabbed me by my helmet, and I'll never forget, he said to me, he goes, if I had to get beat by anyone tonight, I am so glad it was you that beat me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
Incredible.
And being a WA person, Beau, what does the name John Day mean to you?
John Day means a lot. Like, obviously, John Day is he's something of a pinnacle in motorsport in Western Australia. Like he's the benchmark. Like you think of Perth Motorplex, you think of the John Day. It's like that's what you think of. Like no one does it like the John Day crew. And my granddad actually, just this past season, he retired from being a John Day driver. So, like, I was in a John Day Ute, I think when I was like 5 years old, sitting in a booster seat in the front seat of the John Day Ute pushing race cars. And when I wasn't racing and Speedway was on, I'm ringing Pop and I'm like, Pop, can I come in the John Day Ute? Like, just having that connection with John and the John Day family, and growing up around it, like it was something so special. And like the John Day Classic here in WA, that is one of the most prestigious. That's up there with the state title. Like you got your state title here, and you got the John Day Classic. Those are the two biggest races. And like I've been on the podium of the state title, obviously finishing third, and it wasn't actually until this past season that just happened that I actually managed to get on the podium in the John Day Classic. And that was my first podium at Motorplex since the state title when I got the spike. And like being on the podium for the John Day Classic, like again, I felt like I was in the state title again. And to be honest, like you can see it on YouTube, I was crying my eyes out like a little girl. It was bad. So
passion, mate, passion. That's what it is. Yep. And you're right, Paul. You go, Paul. I've been blabbering here, so you have a crack.
Are we going to see you at the Pro Series?
It's difficult to say at this point. Obviously, I would love to go over race and obviously gain the experience of racing the Pro Series and getting so many opportunities to race on your track. Like I know that they're doing Premier Speedway and all that kind of stuff. Like that's some bucket list tracks I want to race at. But unfortunately, in Murray Bridge, in the Australian title and the 50 lapper, as you guys know, like I took a couple heavy spills and I suffered a lot of damage at Murray Bridge, and it took a massive chunk out of my budget this year. Having to basically, I had to build a new car from the ground up, and a lot of the stuff, like I was saying to you earlier, like a lot of the stuff that I've been running with, I can take from the car from previous season and put onto the car for next season. But after Murray Bridge, when I tore a lot of stuff up, it was very hard to basically take a lot of that off because a lot of it was destroyed. So it took a lot of my budget out of the off season, and at this stage I'm unsure if we're going to make it over. Don't get me wrong, I would love to, and trust me and the team are going to work hard to try and get new potential sponsors to come on board and see what we can work out. But at this stage it's still up in the air at this point.
What about the
Aussie title?
The same with the Aussie title, obviously. Don't get me wrong, I would love to. Aussie title is like the one race that everyone wants to win. That's when you ask someone, of course you ask someone, what's the one race you're going to win? Everyone's going to say Aussie title. And like we had a really good crack at it last year, and like even with Murray Bridge with the 50 lapper, like I feel like it wasn't until the end of last season that we've really got to the point where we were like a really fast and competitive car, and it took that whole season until we got to Murray Bridge. And like I said to Dad, like we've got something here, like we're fast, like this is the quickest we've been all season, like, and it just sucks that like with me I'm a momentum racer and it took so long to get there. And obviously this season, like I would love to go back because I feel like I need some redemption at the Aussie title. And but like again, like it just comes down to budget, and like it's looking unlikely at this stage due to how much money we've had to spend the off season. And trust me, if I could, I would. But unless someone is looking for a driver, I'd be more than happy to get on a plane to come over. That's for sure. But,
or if there's anyone out there that's got a nice big fat juicy wallet that wants to jump on board with Beau Doyle Motorsport, get hold of Beau because he will look after. I'm definitely
not going to say no to that, that's for sure.
That's it, mate.
Well, we'd definitely love to see you at the Pro Series and the Aussie title, that's for sure.
Yeah, and like, we did have a chat about it, and like, don't get me wrong, we're trying, and like, I can't say yes and I can't say no at this stage. It's still up in the air, and and at this stage, if we can't make it out this year, I said to Dad, all right, well, if we can't do it, then maybe we just race at home this season, and then next season we go over east and we do the Pro Series and the national title and do as much racing over there. Because like, don't get me wrong, I would love to race over east. Like I think Warrnambool is a bucket list track that I've always wanted to race since I was a kid. Palmer Speedway is definitely, since I've seen that, that is like, I need to get on the high line there. That's something like Motorplex. So, and obviously the 50 lapper as well. The 50 lapper, like we were really, really good. Like we were highest points man on night one there this year. And it's a shame what happened in the feature race over there this year. And it sucks what happened, but I feel like, again, like I need that redemption of getting over there and getting behind the wheel at Murray Bridge, because I said, Dad, like we're fast, and I feel over east we've got unfinished business that we need to go over and finish.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong, like you did have some very bad luck there, but you know what? One of the things I loved about you was that you definitely redeemed yourselves. You got the car back out on the track, and you definitely showed everyone that you was fast. You know, so yeah, I take that up there.
Yeah, and like, if it wasn't for Rod Tech, like Rod and Greg in Adelaide, Dad's cousin, like they, after the Aussie title, we snapped the K-frame out the front of the car, and I was stressed, and straight away I'm like, that's our Adelaide trip over, we're done, like this is over. And Dad's cousin's like, oh, I own a hot rod shop in Adelaide, like we can weld that up. And I was like, you serious? So like the next day we're straight into town and got the engine out, got the car stripped, and like I think there's photos and stuff on my Instagram about it, and like the car's up on a forklift and they're welding the K-frame back in it. And then basically that afternoon, engine's back in, we're starting the car at the track the next day and got the car rebuilt and ready. And like obviously it sucked what happened. And going out at the 50 lapper, like we tried to run the same gear that we had on at the Aussie title for the 50 lapper, and like we did really well. Like I was like, I think the first heat some like hectic racing was going on, and like the cars were just going everywhere, and I'm like, I've already wrote the car off once, I'm just going to take it easy. I don't want to get involved in any of this. And then next minute we're in second. I'm like, whoa, okay, I'll take that. And then ended up winning the next heat, and then we started pole for the feature race, and I ended up having the shocks from the Aussie title on the car. And I think it was when I got pushed off and we started the formation to form up for the grid. When it's turn one, wide open to catch the pace car, and the left rear shock failed straight away before the green flag even happened. So we were rolling off pole with no left rear shock and a right rear shock that was failing, and I'm like, it's just a shame, because I said to Dad, I'm like, I felt like that they were good. Like I checked them out, they weren't bent, nothing wrong with that. I'm like, so I took the risk of running it, and then I'm like, but if I had my other shocks on, I'm like, maybe we could have won the prelim, but we ended up finishing sixth with basically no rear shocks on the car. And the second night, that was hectic. The second night was like, okay, we did good the first night, we're good to go. And then I think we had a sensor fail in the first heat, and it happened on the last lap. Shut the car off, I rolled it around the track, came through four, ended up rolling across the line and took the checker flag, but I didn't know we took the checker flag, so I'm like in the car, like jolting it forwards, like come on, just a little bit further. And got in, and then like I think that we were in the third heat, and then I had like a 2 race gap, and then we were in the fourth heat because I had another 3 heats. So it was basically one heat after the other. So I came in, Dad's like, what's wrong? I said, change the gears in this thing, gearing's not right. Uncle Phil changed the sensor, I got spark plugs and plug leads. So there's 3 of us working on it. We had then we had to call for the 2-minute bell. Like I'm rolling out on track and I'm still putting my race gear on while they get pushed off. And I'm like, pull up, and we get fired off, and didn't have time to change the setup, didn't have time to put bleed offs in, nothing like that. It was basically like, put as much duzzies in and get the gears in. Like, hopefully there's oil in the diff. I don't even know. And just send me out there, like, we need to get out on track. And ended up making it out. And, I said to myself, like, you've dropped the heat race, you need to, like, get as many spots as you can. And I think we started 6, and by, like, the first corner, I'm into second. And, like, because everyone went high, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go where they're not. If they're going high, I'm going low. And ended up going low, and like next minute I'm coming out turn 4 and second to Casey, and I'm like, wow, like this is good, like we're in a good spot here. But because we couldn't change the setup of the car just started to loosen off, no bleeders in, obviously tires are growing, cars getting looser and looser as races going on. Ended up finishing 3rd, and then I'm like, all right, drop the heat race, finish 3rd, we're in the B main, there's no spots, we're in the B, or worst case, we're off the back of the A. So Dad's like, all right, we're off the back of the A, we'll fill the car. So Dad ended up putting 70 litres of fuel in the car, setting it up for the A main, I go down to check where I'm starting. It turns out we're in the top 8 shootout. And I'm like, oh. I come running back. I'm like, Dad, did you see where we're starting? He's like, we're in the top 8, mate. I was like, how much fuel's in this thing? He's like, 70 litres. I'm like, oh my God, great. I'm like, can we drain any fuel out? He goes, we've got no time, mate. You just have to deal with it. So we're rolling out for a 2-lap shuffle with a full tank of fuel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, worst case, we're starting 8th. Who cares? Like, we're in top 8. That's fine. And we ended up going against Tommy Payette and for 7 and 8. And went into turn 1, and I was like, coming into turn 1, I'm like, wow, I'm actually closer than what I thought I would be. Like, I had the opportunity to pull a slide job off here. Pulled a slider, and because I had that so much weight in the back of the car, I was just able to position the car where I wanted, parked it in the middle of the track, and then just see myself in the next 2 corners, and ended up beating Tom for 7th, and ended up starting 7th. I came in, and I was like, holy, I'm like, Dad, he's like, what? I'm like, we just beat someone with 70 litres. I'm like, how sick is that? And I'm like, that was amazing. I looked at Mum, I'm like, so maybe my weight wasn't an issue, Mum.
Does that mean you're going out with 70 litres of fuel every time you go on the track now, Beau?
I probably definitely not. No.
So when are we going to see you out for the first time this season, Beau? Have we got the plan of attack as yet, or?
Yeah, so our first meeting, I think, is the 18th of October for the Powerpalooza at Perth Motorplex.
Yep.
I know that we have a couple of, we got a sponsors day next week for my crew and my sponsors. So there'll be a big shindig on for that. And I think our club, Wazda, has a car day and like a media day, so we're going to go for that and get the car script here. At this point, I'm still building the car.
Yep.
Doesn't help that I only just got back from the States, so I've been like a little bit hectic. Like, Dad's like, you need to get it done. I'm like, dude, we still got a month till we go racing. Like, it's no stress. He's like, you're too calm. I'm like, you're too stressed. I'm like, you need to calm down. So I'm like, dude, if we can build a car in like 3 hours in America from scratch, I'm pretty sure I can do a midget in a month. It'll be all right.
But your mum and dad, they're such great supporters of you, though, aren't they? They're great people too.
If it wasn't for my mum and dad, I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, mum and dad, obviously dad is so supportive. He knows what it's like being a midget racer himself. And mum and dad live and breathe Speedway. Like, that's how they met each other through Speedway. And got to know each other, and then basically me racing. And to be honest, I think out of the two, they're probably going to fight for who's the biggest supporter of me. That's for sure. And like, no matter what, like, Dad's my crew chief. He drives the truck to the track, and he's the main guy. And like, I tell him I want this set up on it. He sets the car up and does whatever I want. And Mum is basically, she's kind of like my therapist. Like, if I'm like, I stress out a little bit too much, and I have the tendency to overthink a lot, and if I'm not in a good headspace, I don't race too well. So Mum's there like, mate, you gotta breathe and just calm down and like have your yogurt and your granola and just take a breath and let the crew sort the car out. Don't worry about that. And like, I seriously could not do it without them. And yeah, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be behind the wheel of a race car.
And a big shout out to your mum too. And a big shout out to your mum. A big shout out to your mum too, because she had a birthday not long ago, I think, didn't she?
Yeah, I think it was. This is gonna be bad if I don't remember. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so she turned 30 again, didn't she?
I'd say 25.
I thought I was being generous. You're being more generous, mate.
Well, I'm going to be generous. She's the one that lets me sign off on the bills for the race car, so I'm going to be as generous as I can.
Well, I'm not going to say I'll just leave you doing the shit for that one.
No doubt we will cop it.
100%.
Before we go, Beau, like, it's been great having you on. Is there, like, I know it's such a hard game out there and you have so many people that are involved. Is there anyone you'd like to thank, leading into the season, like, from last season? Just, is there anyone?
Obviously, I can list off my partners for this season, like Blue Water Shipping, Aaron Ty. They've been with me for, basically since I started racing midgets. They were at a different company now. They've gone to Blue Water. Blue Water's been with me for the last 4 years, I think it is now. And year after year, they are my biggest supporter. If it wasn't for Aaron and Blue Water Shipping, I'm telling you right now, I would not be behind the wheel of a race car. He's just like my mum and dad. I would not be able to do it. So, again, Blue Water Shipping, massive thank you to them. AME Electrical, Andy Reinbold from AME Electrical has come on board this season, so that's pretty cool to have AME Electrical down under. That's a massive credit to not only him but to our team as well, to have that international exposure from him and his team, and to be able to support and showcase AME in Australia is going to be an incredible thing this year. And Nigel from Two Thugs Customs, he's been doing my suits for the last 2 seasons now, and honestly, like, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to basically have a fresh looking suit every season. Like, he's the man when it comes to it. And obviously with him, like, it's so fast and the best customer service, and if I don't like something, he changes it in a heartbeat. So massive thank you to him. Two Thugs Customs, Mark and Narelle, massive thank you to them. They've been with me for, I reckon, 4-5 years now, I think. And season after season, they've been committed to me no matter what. And can't do it without them. GT Brake and Clutch Buckleton, Benny's been on board with me since basically I started racing Speedcars, and year after year he's come on board, and he does so much for me behind the scenes as well. Like, he's an incredible person, and if it wasn't for him and his support, I wouldn't be able to do it. And GT Classics and Mechanical, Uncle Phil, he's been building my motors since I got into midgets, and year after year he does so much to the engine. He's there every meeting working on it, and he's the engine guy. If I know that if he's there, nothing's going to go wrong, and I feel more comfortable when he's at the track because I know that I can rely on him to make sure that thing's perfect. And it goes to show year after year with the engine that he builds one hell of a rocket ship, that's for sure. And Calmac Panel and Paint, Nathan and team at Calmac, they do all my painting every year, like my tail tank. They paint that thing, and man, it looks like a brand new tail tank every season, that's for sure. Yep. Even though it's had a couple of trips in the air and creating some freaking flies at Murray Bridge, that thing looks so good this season. So thank you to him. And Phil and Jen at Powder Works, they do all my powder coating. They are, honestly, I could not do it without them. They know how I like my stuff to look like perfect, and they know I've got OCD to the mega. And year after year they powder coat. They actually come up with some ideas for me for some powder coating. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, let's do that. So they're massive credit to the team, and from like basically little things to like the chassis, they do everything. It's incredible what they can do, and massive thank you to them. Got some new sponsors this season. I've got to thank Paul Charlesworth Motorsport for joining. It's really cool to have Paul on board, so that's a really cool thing to have Paul in Western Australia on another midget. That's a really cool thing, and to be able to meet you in Murray Bridge and form a friendship and then lead to a partnership for this season, it's an incredible thing to have. So thank you, Paul, for that. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, mate. As I said, once again, one of the things I love about this is not to sort of cut you short, but mate, after meeting you guys, your mum, your dad, Stephen Christie, yourself, your whole team, Aaron, mate, I just fell in love with this. So
you're not just a partner, mate. You're a friend, and it's incredible to have you as part of the team. And also got to welcome Bell Mullet Industries, Dermot, who I actually work for a circuit racing team, do contracting work for them. So I met him through that, and he actually come on board this season. So it's pretty cool to have a close friend like that come on board and do some welding. And he's helped out massively, especially with some of the stuff I tore up from last season. He welded some stuff brand new for me. So massive thank you to him. Rod Tech from Adelaide, Rod and Greg, like those guys came on board, and they were the reason I got back out on track at the 50 lap. And if it wasn't for those guys, we wouldn't have been able to have the success that we did. Yes, it didn't end the way that we wanted it to at the 50 lapper, but if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have been able to have the highlight of winning the heat race and being the highest points man and all that kind of stuff. Like, they seriously got us out of a difficult situation. So massive thank you to them. Bruce Spark Plugs have come on board. Rob again, he's been supporting me for a couple of years now, so massive thank you to Rob and Bruce Spark Plugs. And obviously Empire Graphics, Craig and Mitch, they've done an absolutely incredible job with the design this season. I had an image in my head of what I wanted, and like I'm no graphic designer, but I sent a mock-up of what I wanted, and they made my vision come to reality. And year after year, they've supported me, and we've won Best Presented Car time and time again, and people say how good the car looks, and if it wasn't for them, I think that we wouldn't be able to basically win that and be told how good we look. And it's just a credit to him and his team of how good the car looks, and obviously all the partners that have come on board. And if it wasn't for them and my crew, Mum, Dad, Aaron, Ty, Bodie, Uncle Phil, Benny, and everyone who helps out on the car, from my cousins to friends and family who come down into the track, like there's so many people involved that I could be here all night listening. And I'm not going to do that to you guys, but I could do it. But it's just a credit to everyone. There's so many people and so many things involved behind the scenes that it's not as easy as just rocking up to the track and getting out there. So much stuff that happens behind the scenes that if it wasn't for them, that I wouldn't be able to do it.
No, totally
good on you, mate.
Totally agree, Beau. Road racing team, you do some road racing, I've been told, with the team, Beau. What do we do there?
So I'm a mechanic for Rise Racing in Perth. So we go away so they race radicals, which are, I'm not even going to try and explain it because I don't even know what they are. I know they're a motorbike motor and like a kind of open cockpit, kind of enclosed wheel kind of car. So we go, we have our state rounds at Wanneroo Raceway, and then we go away to a whole bunch of different states throughout Australia and racing. So I only just got back from Adelaide last week, where we actually managed to win the championship, both the drivers and teams championship. So that was a massive, massive credit to the team. So first year we've won the drivers, and the second year we've won the teams. So I think we won every single championship outright that there was to win. So that was a pretty cool thing. But
well done.
It's definitely cool to work on those cars. I have told the boss that I'm like, hey, you want to chuck a dirt racer in one of them? That'd be pretty cool. And I get a lot of people ask me, why haven't you raced road racing and done all that kind of stuff? And it's like, even with the road racing team, they're like, why didn't you get into this? And I'm like, at this stage, I can only do what we can afford to do, racing at family budget, and this is what I can afford to do is basically Speedway, and this is what we own. We own everything in the shed, and now that I can, we own that, we can race that. It's not as easy as just going, I'm just going to spend this and go get that car, or just hire that car and race that. It's hard. I'm like, don't get me wrong, if I got the opportunity, I'd race anything. I say to Mum all the time, I'm like, if someone offered me to race a Walmart, I'll race the hell out of it. Don't get me wrong. It's just that opportunity of getting it. And I said to my parents, if that's the whole point of going to America and making those connections. One day I want to be over there and I want to be racing. And I got talking to Andy about it, and he said to me, he goes, do you want to race in America? I said, of course I do. That's the dream. I don't want to be a mechanic. I want to be a driver. But I said to him, unfortunately, with my situation, I'm like, my parents can't afford to pay for a ride like a lot of people do in America to go over there and race. Don't get me wrong, if I could afford a ride, I'd pay for it tomorrow and go over there and race, but I can't. So my next best solution is to come over to America, learn from the best team there, because AME Electrical and Ryan Bold Underwood Motorsport is one of the best teams in America. No ifs or buts about that. Top professional team over there. Learn from the best, come back to Australia, try and put what I've learnt there into my stuff, and basically try and do as good as I can back home to try and make a name for myself here, to get basically get someone over there to see, recognize me and see my name and go, wow, look what this kid's doing in Australia and racing over here, and maybe I should put him in the car over here and see what he can do, because obviously I can't afford it, but if I can get there through basically hard work and doing what I can the other route, I'll try and do that as much as I can. And I said that to Andy, I said I can't afford it, but and he said, he goes, not a lot of people your age especially would take the opportunity to go to the other side of the world for 3, if not more months at a time, basically cutting life off in Australia, coming to the other side of the world, take a chance to learn, and hopefully that pursues into getting a ride in America one day in the future. He goes, not a lot of people will do that. And I said to him, I'm like, I can't afford to pay for a ride, so the next best solution is to work my ass off to basically race as hard as I can, try and get a name for myself here, to get recognized in America. And I said to him, and if I can do that, I'm going to take as much opportunities. And I'm like, if I got to spend a year there to do that, I'll spend a year in America to try and get as good as I can back home.
It's gonna happen, Beau. I'll guarantee you, mate. It's gonna
Yeah,
happen. You're
I
definitely.
hope so.
You're one of the most gentleman people in the sport. You're such a nice bloke to talk to. You speak well. You're a sponsor's dream, mate. Honestly, if they don't give you a ride over there, that's just not on. That's just.
That's the dream. Like, don't get me wrong. I'd love to like. That's the dream, is to race for anyone. Like, I'd race for anyone and race anything. I don't care what it is. Like I said, I race a lawnmower. I don't give a crap.
There's some bloody fast lawnmowers out there, I'll tell you.
Oh, I've seen some lawnmower racing. When I was in America, mate, I seen some stuff where I'm like, wow, like, you guys turn anything into a sport.
Yeah,
like,
they're crazy over there, aren't they? They're just crazy.
Oh my God, like, everything and anything you can think of is a sport. Like, I went to my first football game while I was there, but it was indoors and it was a quarter of the size of a football field.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it. I'm sitting next to Logan Stevie and I'm asking him what the rules are. He's like, oh, so it's basically like your AFL. He goes, but you can't kick the ball. I'm like, okay. And then the guy kicks the ball. I'm like, you just lied because he kicked the ball. Like, what the hell? So I'm trying to learn the rules. Me and Travis are Googling the rules while we're watching the football game. But I'm like, you guys turn anything into a sport. Honestly, it's incredible.
Did you go and watch any ladies gridiron, Beau?
No, I didn't get the chance to. That would have been interesting for sure. I definitely seen some stuff over there that I was like, oh, wow, like, this is next level. And like, even at the track, like the way that the Americans do it, like, it's just, there's no words to explain how professional it is and how next level it is. And don't get me wrong, like, our safety in Australia is so much more advanced than America. And like, we take everything so seriously. Like, they can ride through the pits on pit bikes with no helmets on. There's no care factor in the world. Here, you do that, you're either banned or like there's coming in that there's no pit bikes allowed. Over there, no, you're allowed to ride around and all that kind of stuff. But then other factors of it is like, what I like over there is how their format of how they race. And obviously, the one big thing I loved over there was the technical side of it. Like, top three, doesn't matter if it's a club show or if it's the BC39. If you're in the top three, your car's getting pulled down no matter what. And I love that.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, we might leave it there. Beau, mate, we hope you have an awesome year this year. We hope all your dreams come true and the car stays in one piece and, you know, you get what you want this season, because I know you're such a hard man behind the wheel and you want to go places. So all the best for the season and the whole team. We hope it all goes well for you, and we'll hopefully catch up with you during the season and see how things are travelling. And Paul, thanks for joining us again tonight.
No worries, Jamie. Thanks very much. Thanks, Beau. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, no, thanks, boys. I really appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully we can catch up again this season. And if it's not in person, we'll definitely have to do this again. And yeah, hopefully I can give you an update halfway through the season how we're going.
Awesome.
For sure, mate. Sure, we're pleased to have you back on.
No, thanks, boys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyway, thanks for joining us tonight, people. Don't forget to like the page, and I'm not sure who we've got on next week yet. We haven't sort of worked that out, but we will let you know during the week. But anyway, have a good night, everyone, and thanks for joining us again, and we'll see everyone next week. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, guys.